Taiwan has never been as important as it is right now. The island is at the center of tensions between the world's two largest superpowers, and the eyes of the world are watching. What happens next could create seismic changes to the global economy and political world order, and it even has the potential to start the war that everyone is fearing. So why is Taiwan so important? And why are the eyes of the world fixed on this tiny island nation? In this video, we will find out the real answer to these questions. Before we get into it, it is important that we understand the recent history of Taiwan, in order to get some perspective on what is happening in the country now. The story of present-day Taiwan begins in the 1920s, when China's official name was the Republic of China and was ruled by President Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of the nationalist government called the Kuomintang. This government was challenged by the Chinese Communist Party under the leadership of Mao Zedong. Neither side was willing to give up power, and in 1927 a civil war began. This war raged for more than 20 years, until finally in 1949 a series of communist offences led to the capture of the capital Nanjing on the 23rd of April, and the subsequent defeat of the nationalists on the mainland. The CCP had won the war, and founded the People's Republic of China, or PRC. Before he could be captured, Chiang Kai-shek evacuated his Kuomintang government to Taiwan and made Taipei the capital of the Republic of China, which is still the official name of Taiwan. Soon after, some 2 million people, mainly soldiers, members of the ruling elite and business leaders, were evacuated to Taiwan. These people settled here and took control over the island. Since then, the political and legal status of Taiwan has been a contentious issue. The People's Republic of China claims that Taiwan is Chinese territory. Its official stance is the One China principle, which states that Taiwan and mainland China are both part of China, and that the PRC is the only legitimate government of China. Many countries around the world have agreed to this policy, mainly because China refuses to have diplomatic relations with any country that treats Taiwan as an independent nation. However, in Taiwan the feeling is very different. In the 1980s, the island transitioned from military rule to democracy and held their first elections. Now the ruling party is the Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP. China still does not recognize this government. According to recent surveys, the majority of Taiwanese people do not consider the CCP as their own government. They want to be an independent nation with their own leaders. They also consider the ROC and the PRC two separate countries, with each developing on its own. China simply will not allow this. Their official stance is that Taiwan will be a part of China, whether peacefully or by military takeover if needed. Luckily for the Taiwanese, they are supported by the most powerful country on the planet, the USA. The United States remains one of the main supporters of Taiwan, and has committed to helping them in their pursuit of becoming an independent nation. They already provide weapons and training to the Taiwanese army, and have stated that they will provide military assistance to the nation if China ever attacks. They have also congratulated President-elect William Lai for his victory in the national elections in January of 2024. This has annoyed China immensely. So now that we understand the basics, the question we all want to know is, why are the two superpowers of the world considering going to war over Taiwan? What makes Taiwan so important? Surprisingly, the answer is something so small that it cannot even be seen by the naked eye. Yet it is the reason the entire industrialized world is able to operate the way it does. The reason why every major government in the world is so concerned about Taiwan is because of one of the most important products in the world, semiconductors. So what are semiconductors? Semiconductors, or microchips, are an essential part of every modern-day technological device. You can find them in our phones, cars, laptops, TVs, and literally thousands of other electronic products. They are essentially the brains of any device, and without them the electronics we use today would not be able to function. The two main types of semiconductors are memory chips, which serve as temporary storehouses of data and pass information to and from the computer devices, and microprocessors. These are the central processing units that contain the basic logic to perform tasks. At the heart of this industry are semiconductor foundries. These are the companies that specialize in the manufacturing of integrated circuits for various applications. Basically, the companies which build the chips. Taiwan is home to the largest manufacturer of semiconductors on the planet, though surprisingly, very few people have ever heard of it. The Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, stands tall as the undisputed leader in the semiconductor foundry market. Holding a staggering 59% of total market share, TSMC has established itself as the go-to manufacturer for cutting-edge semiconductor technologies. It also produces around 90% of the world's most advanced microchips. This company, and the many smaller companies on the island who work with them, are the reason why Taiwan is so important. The entire world is reliant on Taiwan, in particular TSMC, for their electronic devices, and if anything happens to Taiwan, the world will feel it. An example of this occurred between 2020 and 2021, when the demand for electronic devices skyrocketed during the pandemic. All of these products needed microchips. However, the output from TSMC and other foundries could not increase quickly enough. This caused a global shortage of microchips. Almost immediately, many companies had to stop producing their goods because they had to wait in line for the chips to arrive. The worldwide chip shortage affected more than 169 industries. The crisis led to major price increases, long queues, and reselling among consumers and manufacturers for automobiles, graphics cards, video games consoles, computers, household appliances, and other consumer electronics. It took until 2023 for the situation to improve. So now that we understand the importance of TSMC and the semiconductor industry, the final question we must ask is, why are China and the USA both so interested in it? To answer this question, we must look at what will be two of the most important applications of semiconductors in the future. One key industry that requires microchips of the highest quality are the advanced weapons system used by militaries. Fighter jets, nuclear submarines, missile systems, and laser beam technology all require the most advanced microchips in order to operate. Whoever controls these microchips will have a significant military advantage over other nations. For the Western world, the idea of China having sole access to these weapons is too high a risk to take. Another future industry which will need a vast amount of advanced microchips is AI. AI and robots are set to transform the world, and countries with these technologies will have both an economic and military advantage over the rest. Both China and the USA want to be the market leaders of global AI production and usage. So, to summarize, the reason why Taiwan is so important is quite simple. Both the USA and China need a regular supply of semiconductors to keep their economies and militaries at the top of the world, and both countries cannot allow the other one to have control over the supply of this precious resource. Currently, the USA has the advantage, as the elected leader of Taiwan is pro-democracy, pro-independence, and has good relations with the US. William Lai is almost certain to maintain favourable trade relations with the United States, and this means a stable supply of microchips in the future. Unfortunately, China is not happy with these developments. The CCP feels like they are losing control over the situation and are losing Taiwan. The elections have created more of an incentive for China to pursue its goals to take over the island by military action. Many governments around the world have condemned this idea. However, no one can control China's decisions. The eyes of the world are eagerly waiting to see what will play out. If you enjoy this type of content and would like to know more about the world's most important topics to help your investment decisions, make sure to subscribe to the T15 report. If you know anyone who would like this video, then please share it with them. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.